There are two resources for using Kiribati to help a missionary understand Tagalog after they've been exposed to the grammar in language instruction. There's this document that goes through a simple explanation of the Kiribati grammar and then uses a comparison of Kiribati to Tagalog in the same way that this video will show for a couple different examples. All of these go through the grammar that is in the grammar books and should be very simple to understand and apply. There's another document that excludes the English explanation and just shows the examples, so that as you work with missionaries, you can just use this visual reference to help them see the comparison of Kiribati with Tagalog. There are also a few examples that aren't in the other document with English, just to give more depth to their understanding and a couple different verb types. So this is the basic Kiribati sentence. In Kiribati, they've got a pronoun, a verb, and a subject as just the simplest sentence structure. So this sentence, we've got he, Tataro, prayed, Yoteba Smith, Joseph Smith. In Kiribati, you always have a pronoun at the front, and the subject in the back of the sentence always specifies what the pronoun is. So in English, we can say he prayed, but in Kiribati, they always clarify who the pronoun is at the start. So the pronoun and the subject always identify with each other. So when you put it in Tagalog, we've got our ang marker, si, which is basically the same as the pronoun a, in that it talks about or shows what the subject is. Nagdasal Joseph Smith. So the way to show that these two are similar ideas is basically to just draw an arrow from the A, Yoteba Smith, and C to Joseph Smith, to show that A is clarified by the subject and they're connected, and C shows what the subject is. So when we put it into a Tagalog order sentence, we've got our verb first, Nagdasal po, and then it's easy to see that C and Joseph Smith are connected together in Tagalog, while in Kiribati they're separated. So in this example, we've got a sentence that's a little bit more complicated. We have our pronoun, verb, an object, a location, and then our subject that clarifies our pronoun. This is to help a missionary understand the VAOL sentence structure. So as you're using this to help a missionary review the principles that they've learned about MUG or grammar, help them take a moment to identify the parts of the sentence, just like you would doing a conceptual practice in English. So this sentence in English is, he taught the gospel to the earth, Jesus Christ. So we would mark the verb, angarere, we would mark our actor, mark both the pronoun and the subject to help them remember and just visually see that the pronoun identifies the object, or the subject. And you've got the object, and then our location. So when we translate it into Tagalog, you take time to have them look at the verb in Kiribati and ask them what it is in Tagalog. And then what the object is sa Tagalog, and write them on the board. And then starting with the actor, help them identify why they would use the C marker, the name marker for Jesus Christ, why they would put a nang on gospel, and sa. And you can even help them see that nakon, too, is the same as sa, just to help confirm their vocabulary in Tagalog. And so because we've got these color coordinated things, the object will always be green, location or receiver will always be red, and the actor will always be blue. That way when we move to different focuses and different grammar types, that will always be consistent, and they can see how the patterns change with different focuses. So after you've helped them review and translate the sentence into Tagalog, you can put it into Tagalog order. And they can see that the verb always goes first, nagturo po, the actor second, which is marked here in the sentence with C or A, Jesucristo. The object is always marked by nang. You can see that by the location in the sentence in Kiribati, then sa, always marks the location, which they can see by nakon or by the location in the sentence. In order to teach object focus in Kiribati, we have to use what's called passive voice. So in English, a non-passive sentence would be, Jesus Christ restored the church. A passive voice would be, the church was restored by Jesus Christ. In Kiribati, there are any verbs that can be used as directly object focus, so we have to conjugate our verbs. So the sentence that we have here is, Jesus Christ, or the church was restored by Jesus Christ. So, kauka kite karesa eron Yesu Cristo. So, kauka is to restore. So in order to make it passive voice, we have this aki at the end. So when we're looking at the sentence, the structure shows that the object, and you can go through this with your missionaries to identify the verb, and to show that the object is now here in the pronoun, and also the object spot. And then we've got by, which reflects the actor. So as you go through with your missionaries, just like with the actor-focused verbs, you can review with them and ask them what restored is in Tagalog, or the church in Tagalog. And as you translate it into Tagalog, you can show them that the subject is now marked by the ang. So because our object is the focus in our passive voice sentence, you can show that the passive voice is the same as an I verb or an ion verb. And the ang matches the object. And now we use nang to show that our actor is not the focus. So we can put it into Tagalog order and see that we still have the verb, actor, object, location, receiver, sentence structure. We've got our I that tells us that our actor is non-focus and our object is the focus. And as you go through with them and have them put things into place, you can review with them why me goes in front of Jesu Cristo, my ang goes in front of simbahan. And if they're not sure, you just go back and review where the pronoun is here in this sentence and what it reflects. And it should be clear just by matching the colors and the places in the sentence from the conjugation of the Kiribati verb. So to help a missionary just cement their understanding of actor and object focus and the differences between the two, you can just compare two sentences showing an actor focus sentence or transitive sentence and a passive voice sentence. So here we've got prophets taught the truths of the gospel, and then actor focus, and then truths of the gospel were taught by prophets. So you can just make clear that angarere is the same as mag verbs, and rerenaki is the same as an I verb. And that the pronoun and the actor focus matches prophets, and then the pronoun and object focus matches the object, or truths of the gospel. And as you go through and review with them and have them translate into Tagalog, it should be clear as they review and reflect on the things that they've learned in Kiribati and in Tagalog, to know the difference between an actor sentence and translating into an actor-focused sentence in Tagalog and an object-focused sentence. And you can do any kinds of comparisons with different sentences as long as the object is always an object.